You're putting Joe in an awkward spot. We all acknowledge that.
You're putting him in a real bad spot.
There's no chance Theismann wants to give anybody his 7, let alone some kid who's accomplished nothing in the league yet.
No.
Not that it's Joe's decision. The other awkward part of the whole thing is it's not Joe's decision. Joe has nothing to do with it. It was just an equipment guy protecting him through all these years. But I guess
it should be on Dan Snyder, but Dan Snyder's not going to go tell the kid he loves, go F yourself, you're not getting Theismann's number.
Probably, right?
But what they should have done years ago is retired all those numbers.
Retire it.
So it's not even an issue.
Or issue it, right? So Joe was put in an uncomfortable spot. Now, there's a couple side stories to this. One is it's interesting that it's come out that Joe, who we went on Grant and Danny's show and said, yeah, I talked to the kid. He's a great kid, and I gave him my blessing, whatever the quote was. Go ahead and wear it, knock yourself out. But it's coming out now that he actually asked him to reconsider and to start his own legacy with his own number.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't blame him for saying that. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to give up his number at that point. It'd become kind of an honor to him for all these years. And, of course, Haskins then, I got to say this, Haskins put him in an awkward spot because then even after that, Haskins called him back and said, no, I want 7.
Right. He doesn't understand.
Look, I don't want to criticize
I don't think he's getting it.
He's only 20. He doesn't know.
He doesn't get it that Joe really wants to keep 7.
Yeah, exactly. But Dwayne really, really wants it.
Dwayne wants it.
And, again, I think, didn't Haskins just have a birthday? So
I think he's 22 now.
Is he 22?
He just turned
22 years old. Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
By all accounts, he's a great kid. But he did kind of put Joe in an awkward spot. So I kind of feel bad for Joe.
But at the end of the day, it's a silly number.
It is.
Just,
it
what?
is.
But
if it belongs to an icon.
So you're defending Haskins?
Yes, Cakes is.
No, I'm defending.
Oh, so you're defending Joe?
I'm of the mind that if you can't get the number and there's controversy surrounding it, just pick a different number.
Yeah,
I'm with you. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a stupid
Don't
uniform number.
Don't make everybody feel awkward about it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Now some people think
Joe can just be a dick and just say no, sorry.
Yeah, but even if Joe does, they can still issue it. That's the whole funny thing.
They could, but I don't think that they. I mean, if they haven't by now, I don't think they would.
I think if Joe voiced a lot of public displeasure about it, there's no way that the team would issue it.
If Joe called Dan and Bruce and said, "Come on, man, I really want 7."
Right.
Well, supposedly Joe did tell he had a conversation with Bruce.
Yes.
And he said, "Look, you're making me look bad.
Right.
Like you're putting me in a spot where I have to say yes."
And then Bruce said, "Well, if I tell him no, then it makes me look bad."
Right.
So someone's going to look bad.
But you know what,
It's
Bruce?
either going to be Joe or Bruce.
Well, why wouldn't Bruce just say, "Yeah, we're not going to do it. Stand up for Joe"?
Because they love their number 1 pick.
Yeah, I guess.
They don't want to piss him off.
So anyway, and then of course there are people that think it's all silly and that numbers aren't sacred and that you should just wear them and make your own legacy with them. It's the name, not the number. And there's some truth to it. But like Rick said when we had Rick on last week talking about it, and it's a great point, these numbers, it's not like you're running out of numbers yet. These numbers haven't been used for 30 years, right? Now, Peter King has a take on his, it used to be called Monday Morning Quarterback. I don't know what Peter's thing is called now.
Probably the same thing.
But he writes weekly, and he's got one of the things he thinks, and he says, I think Joe Theismann even seeming to suggest Dwayne Haskins had to kiss his ring before being rewarded the number 7 jersey in Washington is really weird and a bit mindful of the emperor with no clothes. Would anyone think that a man with fewer passing yards than Steve Grogan and Jim Harbaugh, with fewer touchdown passes than Earl Morrall and John Kitna, with a lower career rating than Kyle Orton and Dave Craig should have his number retired? Mark Rippon won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson and Jeff Hostetler won one. Come on. The fact that Washington never gave Theismann's number out for years after his gruesome injury is a nice gesture, I suppose. But it's silly to think he was an all-timer, the kind of player whose number should never be worn again. I think that's a pretty harsh take. Okay, first of all, there's no mention of, did Mark Rippon, and I love him, did Trent Dilfer, did Brad Johnson, Morrall, were any of those guys NFL MVPs?
No, they weren't.
Yeah, I don't think so. And then you can't throw out the career ratings and touchdowns and all that because we all know it was a different era. So, of course, you could bring some bum from a current era and equate it to because they're different eras. So it's kind of a disingenuous argument, and it screams of somebody who's not from this area, who doesn't understand. I'm going to defend Joe here, how important Joe was to this franchise in the 80s. Right? Even late 70s, early 80s.
And I would say, look, all right, maybe Joe didn't put up, Hall of Fame numbers. He was an MVP. But Haskins hasn't thrown 1 touchdown yet.
Yeah, 0.
Or he hasn't done anything yet.
If he's like
So
most
why should
quarterbacks,
he get it?
he's got I'm going to say roughly a 50% chance of busting,
Correct.
right?
Probably higher than that.
So, and I hope he hits and has a Hall of Fame career. I'm rooting for him.
So what do you think's going to happen here?
Nothing. He's going to wear 7 and it'll all go away. This is just, there's nothing to talk about. Joe's just going to have to eat one.
He'll just be salty.
No, he's going to wear 7. It's already happened. Joe was backed into a corner and said, he has my blessing. Kicking and screaming.
Bitter. Yes.
And I don't blame him.
Maybe this will be the 1 year. This will be the first year Joe doesn't pick the Skins to win the Super Bowl because he's off at Haskins.
Now supposedly Steinberg had a great look like one ever exists. That when Danny Werfel first came here, in one of the mini camps, he wore 7 for like 2 or 3 days.
I remember
there
that.
was so much outrage that what did he end up wearing? 17 or something? Did he wear Doug's number?
Who would know?
He wore a different number when he was here.
Was it 14?
After like the 2 or 3 days of practice. Maybe so.
Was it 14? Look up what Werfel wore. Now I'm interested. What did
Werfel wear?
I'll look it
Pete
up.
says 17.
17.
Oh,
I think it was 17. They throw 1 in front of it and say, here you go. Take Doug's number.
All right.
Disrespect Doug. So I'm on the record. Again, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care that much. But I kind of think these local icons here, and I consider Joe T one of them. He's not a Hall of Famer,
Yep.
and that's fine. But I think he's pretty close. And if it weren't for that, it's almost like a Thurman Munson thing, although he's alive. Like I think if Joe's year in 83 was better than his year in 82, right?
Yeah, well, that was his MVP year.
Right.
He threw 29 touctouchdowns that year.
What year did he get injured? Was it like 85 86?
It was 2 years. I think it was 2 years after he won the MVP.
Right.
Or maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it was the 86.
Joe could have played maybe another 2 or 3 years. It would have put up maybe some more numbers, and maybe he would have a little bit more of an argument. So I actually would have no problem with the Redskins retiring number 7. I would have zero issue with it whatsoever.
Well, the problem is they don't retire any numbers.
Except Sammy Ball.
Except Sammy Ball.
Right. But I think you can go without question. You retire John's number, Riggins.
Mm-hmm.
You retire Darryl Green's. You retire Art Monk's.
Sonny.
You
Probably
retire.
Sean Taylor.
And I guess Sean Taylor. I guess.
Yeah, you would have to.
I mean,
he would have been one of the all-time greats.
Yeah. And I actually think Joe's number deserves to be retired. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, it's going to be your boy Dwayne's.